Part 98. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 1006. The Ghostly Tide of Little Dream Monsters. After all, it ended in a strange way. Perhaps it is because there are many ghost elves here who have already experienced the baptism of the ghost tide with the little dream demon when they were in the Sky City. This time, there was no particularly surprising effect. Now that we have gathered together, we cannot waste this opportunity. If nothing else, let's start the ghost disco. Consider it a welcome to the new Little Diamond friends. Each little diamond is just like the unique little diamond that was targeted by the little dream monster before, enjoying the feeling of ghost carrying the coffin, although such an enthusiastic appearance should bring happiness, that's right, but... Chiliu. The ghost elf licked his tongue inadvertently, which made all the little diamonds panic. Hello, there are ghost elves who want to eat the little diamonds. The little bits are so hard, have no meat at all, and are not tasty at all. A good welcoming party seemed to have inexplicably turned into a ritual of scaring the newcomers. Finally, with the scene of Little Diamond chasing those naughty ghost-type elves, this time's ghost ended dramatically. Party. After the large avalanche that occurred in the Mount Everest region, although this aspect of the Everest climbing project was affected to a certain extent, after the various camps on Mount Everest were rebuilt, they were able to resume providing rest and assistance to climbers. Gradually, the place gradually began to become lively. For these climbers, there is a very important historical experience, that is, the safest time to climb is 2 to 3 months after a large avalanche, and it must be in winter, that is, at the end of November. Before the beginning of February, try mountain climbing as early as possible. After December, Mount Everest is no longer suitable for ordinary people to experience mountain climbing. The campground will also be closed to the public for a period of time until next spring. In order to prevent the retreat training from attracting too much attention, Yang Yu moved a long distance away from Mount Everest on the back of Senior Tutegui. Although there will be echoes in the valley, the wind blowing here in the Everest area and the natural silencing effect of the forest will not attract the attention of climbers here after they are far away from the main peak of Mount Everest. This time of retreat training gave King Salted Fish a feeling full of memories. If the Salty Fish King's training was the most serious and the time that left the deepest impression on him, it was when he was still a king carp in Ocean Park. Facing a group of elves who mastered attack moves, the Salted Fish King, who was still the Carp King at the time, showed amazing speed. At the same time, it was during that time that the Salted Fish King met his first elf teacher, Devil Coach Ziobai. At that time, there was a teacher who forced the Salted Fish King to train hard. If he didn't work hard, he would be beaten. Nowadays, in the current real world of elves, there are very few elves who can force King Salted Fish to train hard, and as teachers. However, in such training, the Salted Fish King devoted himself wholeheartedly. Because around him, there are partners who are working together in this direction. Roar. During an intermission, the Salted Fish King looked at the mountains intently and expressed his own emotion. Such emotion made Yang Yu instantly think back to his senior year in high school. There are like-minded friends who are sprinting for the college entrance examination together, and there is a feeling that if you don't work hard, you seem to be very out of the group, especially when you are in retreat like this. If the Salty Fish King doesn't work hard, then the talent and hard work of little Gyarados, who has been able to super-evolve with the Gyarados Megastone, are not bad at all. How could the Salty Fish King allow other Gyarados to be allowed to do so? What if the dragon surpasses me? More importantly, regarding the description of the Z move, Yang Yu implicitly expressed it between the lines. It is a super trick that is more powerful than any move currently mastered by the Salted Fish King, and the conditions for activation are to use the Z Pure Crystal and the Z Bracelet. With the trainer's full strength, the resonance of the bond with the elves is triggered. The first spot for the Z move is what the Salted Fish King values most. There is no other reason, just because. Salted Fish King is Yang Yu's first elf. On the road to strength promotion, the Salted Fish King took the step to become the King of Heaven at the gym level, but lost to Dede. Moreover, in terms of the stimulation of the elf strength, not only Yang Yu's help and plan formulation, but also the big beauty is inspiring on the side. Although after the Salted Fish King was promoted to a heavenly king level elf, his strength was able to explode into a powerful power beyond his level when he entered the Red Lotus state and returned to the original super evolution. However, it is far from the Z move mentioned by trainer Yang Yu. In terms of basic strength, he is still a little behind. In fact, it is difficult for Yang Yu himself to estimate an accurate stage. The level of elves' strength in the real world of elves not only relies on the memory in his mind, but also the real bond between human trainers and elves. The reason why Yang Yu still hasn't decided to use the Z bracelet and activate the Z pure crystal is because he wanted to see the potential that Salted Fish King, Xiao Bao Bao, and De Melee could unleash during retreat training. Well, it can be better. Strive for excellence. The time is still short. Although we are preparing for the Z move, isn't it also to consolidate and improve the strength of the king level elf? Yang Yu took a deep breath. He was still a little anxious in his heart, but he couldn't rush this matter at all. Power itself is not terrible, but its owner is terrible. Salted Fish King, Xiao Bao Bao, let's continue training. Roar. Ho ho ho. There is no need to get bored, and the joint training with the trainer, especially when the trainer Yang Yu is standing by, clenching his fists to cheer them up, can bring endless energy. Compared with the single training of Salty Fish King and Little Bao Bao, the training of Dedu and Deme, after adding the glacier venue, the meditation practice on Mount Everest can be a little more colorful and fun. Every morning, Yang Yu would send the Regirock Wisdom Core to the mountainside of Mount Everest. Without Diangzi's power, it would be difficult for the Regirock Wisdom Core to communicate with the power core deep in the ice, but even if in this way, the core of Regirock's wisdom will continue to wait here. Each of Yang Yu's elves has its own training mission. This period of seclusion was relatively comfortable and natural, and there were no major incidents in the Everest area. Mid-November. Nearly 2 months after Yang Yu came to the Mount Everest area, Yang Yu received an extremely urgent message. From Yang Xiao. Brother, brother, brother. My Gengui, he is gone. The sound of someone sobbing anxiously and even a little overwhelmed made Yang Yu's heart suddenly twitch. Gengar. When he heard the news, Darkrai in Yang Yu's shadow space suddenly became extremely shocked. No way. In Darkrai's mind, a white figure flashed past in an instant. Could it be? Is this Yang Xiao's Gengar? Pokémon's character master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 1007. The peaceful life seems to be no longer peaceful. When Yang Yu heard the news that Yang Xiao's Gengar had disappeared, he was also a little confused, but he woke up immediately and said in a deep voice. Xiao Yu, you wait at home, I will go back to Hangzhou right away. Even Yang Yu himself didn't know how much his jaw was trembling when he said the sentence. Gengui, to both Yang Xiao and Yang Yu, is not just an elf, but has become an inseparable family member and partner. The disappearance of Gengar. Suddenly, too sudden. As if there was no room for relief. Salted Fish King, Salted Fish King. Our training plan may be temporarily terminated. Heading towards Hangzhou, rush back at full speed immediately. Roar. What's going on? There's an earthquake. No, it must not be an earthquake. We finally waited until Mount Everest was unblocked and open to the outside world, but this earthquake. Look, what is that? The roar of this giant beast can be heard in the entire Mount Everest area at this moment. Perhaps it was a little bit of resentment during the training, or maybe it was the defense against being unable to conquer Senior Tutegui. For the salted fish king who was unable to vent his emotions, the explosion at this moment was unusually refreshing. The climbers at the foot of Mount Everest and on the mountainside stared dumbly at the giant blue figure that shot straight into the sky from the peak. Oh my God! It's Gyarados, it's soaring from the valley to the nine heavens. This is too awesome. Where are the photos? Hurry, take photos quickly. A reminder from the crowd made these climbers suddenly realize that the scene in front of them was something they could not see at ordinary times. Whoosh! Like a floating shadow, it only flashed away, and the blue figure immediately disappeared from people's eyes. What a terrifying speed. I know, it's him. It's his elf. Who? The youngest king-level trainer in China, Yang Yu. So it's him. These climbers stood there for a long time, and gradually, they did not even dare to take a breath. The atmosphere was inexplicably deserted. Hiss. Terrible. Wait, why did the sky over there suddenly turn into fiery red clouds? In the elven world, Kuai Long is definitely one of the best flying elves among the elves that fly over long distances. It is said that when dragon messenger Xiaozhepen was young, he flew around the entire equator with Kuai Long, circling from the starting point and back to the starting point, which took a total of 16 hours, 13 minutes, and 53 seconds. The salted fish king was advancing at full speed, carrying Yang Yu's anxious mood. At this moment, his eyes were covered with a layer of boiling anger. When anger invaded the whole body, during this ultra-high-speed flight, the body of the salted fish king cut through the high-altitude air, and its scarlet color seemed to cover the salted fish king with a layer of blood. Battle armor. Even under the sunlight, the surrounding white clouds were dyed bright crimson. Did something happen? He left so suddenly. When Ice Queen Wang Tongbing learned that King Yang Yushan had left the Mount Everest area, she looked a little shocked. After all, if she knew that King Yang Yushan was leaving, she would definitely go to see him off. Leaving without saying goodbye. This made the Ice Queen feel a little more worried. What happened that could make King Yang Yushan leave at such a terrifying speed? Attention all units pay attention. From the Everest area to Hangzhou at an altitude of 8,100, the flight route quickly avoids this area. There is a king who is in emergency flight. At this speed has reached nearly twice the speed of sound. The surrounding air, there are even jet planes. Oh my God, I remember in the history of elf flight, the Huiguolong messengers Kuai Long circled the equator in about 16 hours. This speed. The radius of the equator is about 6,400 kilometers, and the distance around the entire equator is about 40,000 kilometers. In 16 hours, it is equivalent to a speed of 2,500 kilometers per hour. When converted into a speed per second, it is close to 694 meters per second. This Gyarados is still accelerating. It's the dance of dragons. The speed under Dragon Dance is already close to 1 kilometer per second. But the Dragon Dance can't last that long, right? If the plane has a stopover on the way, from Hangzhou to western Tibet, it will take a total of 6 hours of flight time. It may even take just over an hour for King Yang Yushan to rush back to Hangzhou from the Mount Everest area. Yang Yu's emergency departure from Mount Everest has attracted great attention from aviation departments and elf flight departments across the country. Such an unusual situation, as well as this incredible flight speed, it can break the flight record set by Dragon Messenger Xiaozhepen in the elf world. This Scarlet Gyarados, at such a speed, why do I have an illusion that what I see seems to be the god of the sky? You mean, the legendary Rayquaza in our elf world? Oh my god, we can't see or imagine how fast Rayquaza will be, but the speed of this Gyarados is already the maximum flying speed that elves can currently reach in the elf world. It's not the absolute limit. At this time, under the satellite monitoring of the aviation department, the speed of that figure in the sky suddenly accelerated again. What? What? The sound of shock resounded throughout the monitoring station. At this moment, these people sitting and monitoring flight data can no longer sit here quietly. All rise. At this moment, high in the sky, under the full protection of Dudu, his superpowers were fully activated, giving Yang Yu the feeling of a super time and space duel in the air. The scene in front of him seemed like the whole world in the sky. Coming at you. At such a speed, an ordinary person would have fainted long ago. Even Yang Yu himself didn't know that the current speed of the Salted Fish King has exceeded 3 times the speed of sound. Yang Yu's only thought now was to return to Yang Xiao. Xiao must be very anxious and panicked right now. Even on the phone, she was sobbing, and even her voice was muddy and blurry. Yang Yu's heart was always burning with anxiety, like the scorching sun burns my heart. Yeah. At this time, he was dumbfounded, holding his breath and concentrating, and the superpowers around him were completely protecting him. At this extreme speed at high altitude, it is also a big challenge for Dede. The Salted Fish King is challenging his own ultimate speed, Dedu, and in such an environment, challenging the ultimate superpower protection. Understand the power of nature and the storms high in the sky around you. Wind is also a force. Although there is no wind attribute in the elf world, wind is often linked to moves with flying attributes. Master the power of the wind, understand the power of the wind, then face the oncoming wind while moving forward at high speed. He merged into the wind. When the wind is no longer a resistance, but a kind of assistance, the auxiliary effect Dede can bring to Xianxian is to reduce the resistance to the minimum, and at the same time, transform the resistance into a powerful assistance to increase the speed. This speed. Darkray's expression was completely shocked by the scene and could not speak. In Darkray's impression, the number of elves that can reach this flying speed, at least in the past few thousand years, can be counted with one hand with a wrench. Even among the 3 holy birds, which are the most representative flying elf species, only the lightning bird can reach such a speed, and it only lasts for an instant and cannot maintain this speed. The remaining elves? The one who impressed Darkray the most was naturally Rayquaza. The terrifying vitality in Gyarados provides an absolute guarantee for such high speed. Without such a physique, it would be impossible to achieve this. The impact of the original return to super evolution, although it is now in the stage of Scarlet Gyarados, it can also have a strong improvement in speed. I never thought that there would be a trainer in the elf world who could train a Gyarados to be so terrifying in his lifetime. This Gyarados is full of calculations. How long has it been since then? The Salted Fish King is not an elf like Gengar who can live for thousands of years. Similarly, he himself is not like the legendary elves like Darkray. When he was born, he was destined to master extremely terrifying moves and possess extraordinary strength. The beginning of Salted Fish King. Just an ordinary Magikarp. But he met Yang Yu. Became Yang Yu's Carp King. Salted Fish King is Yang Yu's first elf companion. At this moment, for some reason, a golden light flickered faintly in Yang Yu's mind. This golden light, at this moment, made Yang Yu's whole body begin to tremble uncontrollably. Go all out and go for it. It's time. What? Darkray didn't quite understand the meaning of Yang Yu's sudden words at this time. Dudu, give me the Z bracelet engraved by Reggie Locke. Yang Yu's breathing suddenly became extremely rapid at this moment. The golden light in his mind seemed to remind Yang Yu. It's time. This time, it was Xianyu King who went all out to rush back to Hangzhou, and similarly, it was Duo Dai who went all out, and Yang Yu went all out. Xiao, we are back. Yeah. The superpower in Dudu's hand flashed, and a bracelet with extremely exquisite craftsmanship appeared in Yang Yu's hand. The little dream demon clutched Yang Yu's hair tightly, her dark eyes staring at the Z bracelet in his hand. Yang Yu said before that this Z bracelet and Z pure crystal can cause incredible mysterious effects and bring about a qualitative change in the power of the elves' moves. During this period of retreat training, I have been preparing for Z moves. Although Little Dream Demon doesn't know much about this term, it must be very important. Just like the Gyarados Megastone that can transform Gyarados into a pink Super Gyarados. Anyway, it must be very cool. Z bracelet. Darkrai gasped. You don't want to try that Z move with no idea of its effect at an altitude of 10,000 meters, do you? I'm a nightmare god, human trainer, you can't mess around. At this time, in Darkray's eyes, Yang Yu's behavior was like that of a madman. If we were on land, then everything would be fine, but you must know that this place is close to an altitude of 10,000 meters. If this move is accidentally messed up, what are the consequences? Aren't you here? Yang Yu smiled softly. Darkrai, the god of nightmares, and Cresselia, the god of dreams. The ability of the god of dreams can bring the real Yang Yu and his elves into the dream world. Even if the elves encounter some crises in the real world, Yang Yu's safety can be guaranteed. Darkrai. I want to leave, leave, leave. That's what Cresselia can do, not Darkrai. When humans or other elves are brought into the dream world, Darkrai directly arranges for the dark hole to serve him. The nightmare scene starts immediately. How did he end up here at Yang Yu? Are you going to change your career? Darkrai, don't you also want to see what kind of power the Z move will have? If it is successfully used, today will be an epoch-making day in the real world of elves. Of course Yang Yu knew that Darkrai would not stand idly by, but this guy was very arrogant sometimes, so if he said something nice, Yang Yu still had no problem with it. As expected, Darkrai was a little moved. The Z moves, Z bracelets, and Z pure crystals that Yang Yu was talking about in Manaphi's Sea Temple were always mysterious. Now, it was about to be shown before his eyes. Darkrai said that he had no reason to refuse the Z move this time. It doesn't matter if you fail. The road in the elf world has not come to an end. Because Darkrai knew in his heart that there were many unknown forces behind the elven world. Yang Yu stood behind the Salted Fish King. The Salted Fish King flying at full power. This back view made Yang Yu feel infinite emotions deep in his heart. If it weren't for him, Yang Yu, the Salted Fish King wouldn't have shown such desperate speed. Although we have not been able to feel the bonding power of spiritual unity through the power of super evolution. But we have a new power. Yang Yu gently touched the ferocious barbs on the back of the Salted Fish King, muttering to himself in his expression. Feeling Yang Yu's voice, the Salted Fish King's pupils, burning with excitement and anger, opened wide and brightly again. A dark blue diamond-shaped crystal appeared in Yang Yu's hand. In this crystal, there is a tightly closed eye. It is Dragon's Eye. There was once an allusion to the finishing touch in the records of elf history. At the same time, the finishing touch was also the legendary Rayquaza's exclusive move. King Salted Fish, are you ready? We will unblock power that surpasses the entire elven era. There was no earth-shattering roar, just the actions of the Salted Fish King at this moment. In the sky, the speed of this scarlet figure, in the mist, began to increase again. Extreme speed? No, this is still not the limit of Salted Fish King. Click. When the Dragon Series Z Pure Crystal is perfectly inlaid on the Z bracelet, it makes a crisp sound in an instant. Above Z Pure Crystal. Dragon, open your eyes. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 1008. A little purple gold light appeared in the light curtain of the clouds. However, in the next second, this small light was like a scene of nuclear fusion. In just an instant, the entire cloud layer was rendered into an extremely dazzling purple-gold color. Cloud, Kong Long. Yang Yu had thought about those embarrassing moves and lines in his mind, but on this urgent return trip, when returning to Yang Xiao was the first priority. Nothing is more powerful than this sentence. Yang Yu raised the Z bracelet that was already on his right arm towards the sky. At this moment, the sky in the elven world set off a fiery atmosphere for the Z pure crystal inlaid in the Z bracelet on Yang Yu's right arm. When Yang Yu's will condensed on the Z bracelet and Z pure crystal on his right arm through the power of wave guides that were different from ordinary people, the dragon eye that had not yet opened its eyes inside seemed to be in Yang's eyes. Under the light of Yu's faith, unfold. This dusty eye of power. As if the sleeping dragon is waking up. Yeah. Bow boop boop, boop boop. The dull eyes looked at the indescribably powerful aura formed between the Z bracelet and the Z pure crystal in Yang Yu's hand with shock and solemnity. This source of power still has not ended in its final destination. And the ultimate destination of power. It is on the body of the salted fish king at this time. Yang Yu opened his palm. At this time, the Z bracelet seemed to be a kind of Thanos glove that collected original stones. In it, following the circular pattern carved on the top of Reggie Locke's wisdom core, gradually, the purple gold energy begins to linger. When this energy adsorbed on the Z bracelet flows, all the groove areas are completely covered with purple gold. The superpower contained in it has reached an ultimate peak at this moment. Full stance. Yang Yu didn't know why, but uncontrollably, he waved his right hand to the sky, and pointed the Z bracelet and Z pure crystal that were completely ready, towards the body below him, which was the most eye-catching huge barb on the salted fish king. The central area of the spine. Stay close to me with great care. The spiritual power of trainers and the spiritual power of elves are the bond between the two in the construction of Z power. Soul unity. The wind is getting stronger. At this moment, under the agitation of power, the hem of Yang Yu's clothes fluttered in all directions. At this moment, when Yang Yu's right hand began to linger, this dragon power that transcended the entire elf era was injected into the body of the salted fish king. The scarlet color and the purple gold dragon power, at this moment the terrifying fusion formed is like a bottle. The dragon god appears. The scarlet anger, exaggerating this layer of supreme purple gold dragon energy, is in the center of the spine of the scarlet Gyarados' body, which is also the focus of the power bridge facing the Z bracelet Z pure crystal in Yang Yu's right hand. This purple gold seed blooms with the dazzling colors of the purple gold flower. The heart and strength of the salted fish king are unified, and the strength of the whole body, with Yang Yu's belief, with the strength of the trainer's mind and body under Yang Yu's full strength posture. Let your whole body be bathed in the radiance of this extremely powerful dragon element. Wait, yes, are we dazzled? What is this? Does anyone know what this is? The aviation department was always paying attention to the flight path and dynamics of Yang Yuxianwang's Gyarados through satellites. At this moment, everyone felt as if they had seen an unreal picture. What did they see? In the clouds covered with purple gold power, they saw a dragon. What they find incomprehensible is not the scarlet and terrifying huge body of Gyarados, but, around that body, a circle of substantive aura that is completely unreasonable is formed, and this aura, even can directly affect any sky area where Gyarados is. Quick, go check it out through technical means. What is this substantial aura around Gyarados? Oh my god, he must have created his own aura out of the entire cloud layer, but the problem is that this aura, our satellite can capture it. What the hell is this? What is this? From this angle, it looks like, around this Gyarados, there appears, a larger phantom of the Gyarados. This phantom, my god, is this the Dharma realm? Faxiong heaven and earth, how about you, Faxiong? Is this the visual difference between the sun, the atmosphere, and the clouds? It's like a mirage. You used our satellite system to create a mirage? How about you give it a try? You are afraid that you will give back to the teacher everything you learned in school. For safety reasons, the aviation department had to keep an eye on Yang Yu and his gyarados during this trip. Although everyone couldn't help but worry at first, worrying whether the young king had been hit for some reason, resulting in something is wrong mentally. It is also commonly known as adolescent rebellion. But as they stared here, they found that they had inevitably trapped themselves. For the old people in the Chinese aviation department in the elf world, this speed reminds them of their early years, but for the young people in the department, this is kind of cool. Moreover, it is a dream that every trainer has. Above the sky, swim. It would be even better if there was an elf with the ultimate visual impact like Gyarados. The reason why these security personnel of the aviation department refused to miss the scene in front of them for a second was because of the terrifying speed of Gyarados that no longer knows how to describe. This kind of visual shock directly touches the soul, and even it feels like living in two worlds. Is this the speed that elves can have in the real world? The Kuai Long of the Chinese dragon envoy, the man and his elf who once set a new flight record in the history of the world's elf, at this moment, that record has been broken by the young trainer recorded by the satellite. The technical department quickly determined through the analysis of the attributes of the moves that this is the power of dragon attributes. The personnel who went to find the technical department to analyze the substantive aura properties quickly came back and announced their results at the same time. At this moment, everyone on the scene began to hold their breath and concentrate. Their minds began to think rapidly. In the end, what dragon-type moves can elicit such earth-shattering power? Such a substantial aura is like the sky of the elven world, the power of the dragon in nature. Quick, 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 go find our dragon envoy from China, and the dragon gym leaders, and the more famous dragon elf trainers, and ask them. What kind of move is this? Yang Yu, Yang Yu, Yang Yu, what kind of move is this? Darkrai almost crawled out of the shadow space. If Cresselia asked Darkrai why he knelt down to watch Yang Yu use the Z bracelet and Z pure crystal. Because this is the Z power that transcends the entire elf era. My heart is as strong as iron, indestructible. Come on, salty fish king, let our speed and power draw a new light of power into the sky of the elf world. This move. The ultimate dragon shakes the world. Pokémon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 1009. Mysterious and powerful. The most terrifying thing is that this substantial aura forms an unparalleled momentum. In the sky, the substantial dragon-type power aura appeared around the Salted Fish King. At this time, the Salted Fish King himself, who had a huge size, turned the invisible into substance, completely radiating the inner power. Are the golden scales just a thing in the pond? They turn into dragons when they hit the wind and clouds. Rising from a humble beginning, the Salted Fish King's original form, the Carp King, represents one of the weakest elves in the elven world. At this time, he is at the top of his game. The aura formed by the powerful dragon power gradually transformed into a more terrifying giant shadow in the clouds, just like the shadow cast from the Salted Fish King, but behind the Salted Fish King this power, the condensed purple gold dragon, stroke by stroke, is carved with the style of the Salted Fish King. The extremely hard triangle on the head, the vivid and angry eyes, the sharp and huge barbs on the back, and the climbing body, like the idol is born. What kind of power is this? Darkrai's right hand involuntarily covered his chest. He felt his heartbeat. This feeling was as if he saw Cresselia, the god of dreams, for the first time after waking up. It was that. The feeling that your heart is about to jump out of your chest. You. Craving power? Darkrai's throat moved. The substantial power in front of him was completely beyond his expectations. How could something like a Dharma exist in the real world of elves? Could it be Is he dreaming? Roar. The salty fish king's roar completely woke up Darkrai in the dream world. Everything in front of you, this is reality. To be honest, even if Darkrai himself dreamed, he might not have dreamed of such power. Is this, what you said, the Z move? A strange light flashed in Darkray's blue pupils. He really wanted to say, I want to. But is it a little too much? As the god of dreams and the nightmare god Darkrai, who is also known for his evil power, how could he use such a soft and weak voice and tone? Give me one too. Yang Yu. At this time, Yang Yu only felt that there was a shadow in front of his eyes, as if the sun was green. The salted fish king in front of me seems to have grown an extra head. Oh no, it seems to be 2 heads. Or is it still 3? All the strength in his body felt as if it had been drained away at this moment. The blur in front of his eyes even made Yang Yu feel the feeling of taking off. Is Paratrooper 1 Yang ready? Growling, grrrrrrr. Realizing that something was not right about Yang Yu, he was stunned and immediately supported Yang Yu's body and put him in his arms, letting Yang Yu's back rest on his stomach. At this time, Day, just like the Day sofa, is still safe and reliable. Bola. Fatty grabbed Yang Yu's 2 weak hands and held them on his round belly as usual, using the warmth of his fur to relieve Yang Yu's fatigue and warm him. The little dream demon gently pulled Yang Yu's hair and found that Yang Yu really had no strength at all now. He floated down and poked Yang Yu's pale face. There is really not a drop left. In fact, I could have saved some energy, but this was the first time I used the Z move. I had no experience, so it seemed that I put all my strength into it all at once, and then it became what it is now. Maybe this is the price of power? Fortunately, the ultimate giant dragon's move that shakes the world has been completely formed. The most powerful speed and power of the salted fish king. When this move is formed, the dragon god's dharma formed around the body is driven by an extremely powerful force, making the surrounding wind, cloud, thunder, rain, and even all the natural forces that are conducive to the exertion of dragon attributes are integrated into the dragon god dharma. With such a powerful force, the salted fish king actually had an idea to arouse the power of thunder around him to provide himself with more powerful power. In this way, his ultimate speed could be even faster. However, it doesn't look convenient at the moment. Even so, the speed of the salted fish king was boosted by the ultimate dragon's earth-shaking power, which allowed the speed of this journey to truly reach an unbelievable and terrifying speed. What is this? In Yanjing, China, there is a dragon spirit gym. The owner of the museum, Yun Zhenfei, was completely confused. When he received the news from the aviation department, Yun Zhenfei couldn't figure out why China's Spirit Aviation Department suddenly came to his door and asked for his help. It is said that he is asking about the mysterious dragon-type moves. Dragon-type moves, this is not like turning on the computer, opening the browser, typing dragon-type moves, let alone a second, the speed is 0.00, several 0 seconds, it can be done immediately. Find out. Why do you come to ask me? Although Yun Zhenfei was confused, he still accepted the aviation department's request. However, when I saw the faxed satellite image data and the familiar figure of Gyarados that was no longer familiar, Yun Zhenfei was confused again. What the hell is this? Have you started to upload even satellite picture data now? Don't tell me, Ps are very realistic. But when Yun Zhenfei saw the text that said King Yang Yushin is flying on the back of Gyarados at a speed exceeding 3 times the speed of sound, things seemed to have become a little unusual. As long as anything comes with the name Yang Yu, it is definitely not a small matter. Don't say it, it's true. What is this horse-stepping move? Why haven't I seen it? Yun Zhenfei, the dignified leader of the Dragon Gym, blinked as he looked at the satellite image data in his hand that seemed to be non-P, as well as the video data transmitted through the network on the screen. Sigma, oh, oh, oh no. You also feel that this power is amazing, right? Dragon Messenger Xia's Hepeng gently stroked Kuai Long's back. Kuai Long looked extremely serious and nodded enviously. The data in the hands of the Dragon Messenger also indicate the absolute value displayed when Yang Yu's Gyarados reaches its highest speed. That has surpassed the world record once set by this dragon. Yang Yu, what kind of dragon-type move is this? Did he create it himself? Dragon Messenger Xia's Hepeng smiled bitterly and shook his head. The 2 or 3 months that I thought I could be peaceful about suddenly became busy again. Kuai Long, let's go, coordinates, Hangzhou. Oh dash. A blazing light flashed in Kuai Long's eyes. Hey, 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 slow down, slow down, slow down. My old waist. Ah. My butt? I'm not telling you to be reckless, I'm telling you to slow down. Oh woo. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 1010. Hangzhou, in a rented cabin. Yang Xiao and Gardevoir stared blankly at the floor-to-ceiling screen in the room. This is the gate where Gengar goes to work in Ghost Tower. It is said that among them, there is a ghost tram built by the Ghost Internet, which can travel to the Ghost Tower of the Magic City at extremely high speeds. At the same time, the faster the internet speed is, the faster the ghost tram will move forward. The ghostly aura of Gengar still lingered on the screen. But Gengui disappeared here. In front of Yang Xiao and Gardevoir, a figure waved his hands back and forth, tapping his toes on the floor, using exaggerated expressions and movements, through pantomime, trying to make them feel better, but obviously, the magic wall the puppet failed. Such a feeling. The magic wall doll also felt it? So. The magic wall doll also sat down beside them, tilting his head from time to time to observe the expressions on the faces of Yang Xiao and Gardevoir. Somewhat helpless, but we can only bear the silence at this moment together. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of knocking on the door came from the big screen. Gardevoir immediately raised his head, and the pair of eyes under his hair that were as red as amethyst gems suddenly brightened, and then dimmed again. The elf knocking on the other side of the big screen. Not her Gengar. Such a sound was not made by Gengar. If Gengui comes back, he should first knock on the door 3 times. If Gardevoir or Yang Xiao are at home at that time, Gengui will be on the other side of the door, cutting his hair or carrying official documents. The posture of the bag appears in the door in a very spiritual way. If not at home. Gengar didn't care about these things. He simply threw the briefcase on the ground and flied to the bed with a carefree bounce. The huge movement can scare the magic wall doll at home half to death every time. It was as if the home had been robbed. It's a pity that the magic wall doll can't defeat Gengar. In addition, due to the properties of its own tools, even if the magic wall doll expresses strong condemnation, it will still have to clean the room compulsively in the end. Silicon hiss. The elf that appears on the other side of the big screen is a Ghost Stone. Ghost Stone's right hand was holding a briefcase that was extremely familiar to Yang Xiao and Gardevoir. Of course, the magic wall doll was also familiar. This is the briefcase that Gengui carries every day when he goes to work at the Ghost Tower in Magic City. Sana. Gardevoir quickly robbed Gengar's briefcase. When he came back every day, Gengar would bring some food in his briefcase. Special offer for Magic City Ghost Tower. When Gardevoir opened the briefcase and saw many pastry crumbs scattered inside, her expression suddenly became uncontrollable and she slumped down at this moment. Gardevoir, calm down, be sure to calm down, we have to wait for brother Yang Yu to come back. Gengui, I believe Gengui will be fine. Yang Xiao felt that she might not believe what she said, but she immediately conveyed the message for help to Cressalia's side. Maybe the dream god knows something. I have a guess, but I'm not sure. I need to discuss it with Darkrai before I can confirm whether it is true. Cresselia answered very cautiously, and at the same time, her expression was equally serious. Gengar's disappearance reminded her of something. One Piece. A scene I saw in the dream world. The trade of souls. However, Cresselia is not completely sure. This incident is really shocking. At the same time, if this Gengar is really the protagonist of the soul trade, everything will be dominated by the Pluto Dragon King who reverses the world. In the hands of Lord Giratina. GGG. The sudden disappearance of Gengar on his way back home from the Ghost Tower in the Demon City also aroused the great attention of Gengar Laohei of the Ghost Tower. As Laohei's right hand, money-making assistant, Gengui is also very prosperous in the Ghost Tower, especially after creating huge income for Gengui Laohei, and he has quite the demeanor of Gengui Laohei when he was young. It can be said that Gengui Laohei basically cultivated Yang Xiao's Gengui as the future core strength of Ghost Tower. Gengui Laohei has called up all the surveillance on the internet Ghost Dark Network channel on the route from the Magic City back to Hangzhou, with the intention of finding the suspicious aspects of Gengui's disappearance. The current situation is being screened and investigated. When the real key points are found, Gengui Laohei will definitely take action personally this time. He wanted to take a look, which little brat actually had the idea to target Gengui Laohei. Jajaja. The gloomy eyes turned red with anger. Check. The ultimate dragon shakes the world. In normal training and elf battles, this is the Z move used for output. But this time, the situation is urgent. The effect Yang Yu is pursuing is not the terrifying power of the Z move, but the sky-breaking power of the Z move. Speed. Even so, Yang Yu knew very well. In the real world of elves, there must be only a handful of elves who can resist this move. When the dragon god's Dharma with the sky as a huge screen gradually dissipates with the clouds, this means that the speed increasing effect brought by the ultimate dragon shaking the world has reached its final sustainable time. If you look carefully, you will see beads of sweat like a stream gathering at the corner of the Salted Fish King. The release of powerful power brings about the fatigue that cannot be driven away after using the moves. In such fatigue, even though the Salted Fish King will be excited because he feels the terrifying effect of Z power, but now, he couldn't get excited. Because being tired will affect the ultimate purpose of this trip. Distance from Hangzhou. Only separated by a river. There is still a sense of anger in the Salted Fish King's chest, perhaps because of the Salted Fish King's own pride, because he is Yang Yu's first elf companion and the eternal Salted Fish King. Roar. With the glory that belongs to the Salted Fish King, we launch the final sprint towards the suburbs of Hangzhou. Alu. He looked at Xianxian at this moment with a dull expression and some worry. In order to shorten the time on the way, Xianxian has used all his strength. The power of the Z move has opened a new stage of Dada's understanding of power, but after the duration of the Z move. Like Yang Yu, Xianxian inevitably began to gradually run out of energy. The subsequent impact of the powerful force is the loss of physical strength due to overclocking. If he flies at the original speed, Xianxian can persist for a long time, but it will take more time to reach Hangzhou. On ultra-long distance routes, it was also impossible for Dede to use his superpowers to teleport without restrictions. During this period of traveling at high speeds at high altitudes, Dede was also doing his best to protect the safety of Yang Yu and other elves. Unknowingly, the training of Dudu's superpowers, under tremendous pressure, had an unexpected improvement effect. King Salted Fish, thank you for your hard work. On the outskirts of Hangzhou, the Salted Fish King finally stopped here. This time, when he came into contact with the river water on the outskirts, the Salted Fish King completely collapsed. The scarlet color of the body gradually faded away. Just like the blue of the sky, it is so dazzling. Yi. Ho ho ho. Maybe Big Beauty and Little Bao didn't appear to the outside world to see the extraordinary power displayed by the Salted Fish King, but there were dull superpower effects replayed, and after learning that this place was already on the outskirts of Hangzhou, Little Bao and Big Beauty are in awe. Omega asterisk. The next section of the road in the city will be left to Domali and Dada. Yang Yuqiang cheered up, and while Little Dream Demon kept massaging his shoulders and Jigglypuff beat his leg muscles to relieve the pain in his body, he looked at the familiar doorway in front of him. Yang Yu knocked on the door with a solemn expression. Xiao Yu, I'm back. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 1011. Brother, you are finally back. While waiting anxiously, just 1 hour seemed like waiting for a whole day. Before Yang Yu entered the door, he asked Dada to use his superpower to support his body so that he would appear more energetic when walking. In fact, in the case of some overdraft, Yang Yu needed a good rest to regain his normal energy. But the current situation does not allow Yang Yu to do this. At the same time, the moment they entered the door, Darkrai and Cresselia quickly entered the same shadow space. Xiao Yu, tell me, when did it happen, where did Gengui go before, and what happened when the elves disappeared out of thin air? There must be traces to follow. The appearance of Yang Yu was the backbone of this small house, which finally made Yang Xiao, who was a little at a loss, feel at ease. Brother Yang Yu is Yang Xiao's support. Brother, Gengar was fine when he went to work in the morning, but he was missing when he came back at noon. When he found it, he found Gengar's briefcase that he left in the passage. Here, it's Gardevoir. The one I'm holding in my arms now. When Yang Yu saw Gardevoir's condition, his heart couldn't help but sink. At this moment, Yang Yu seemed to have seen the fear and helplessness in his eyes when he first met Gardevoir, when he was still Larula's, and at the same time, he was clutching the briefcase tightly, as if just like when I was hiding in the corner and holding onto a corner of the quilt. This is not a good sign. Gengar. Where did he go? Yang Yu once thought about it on the way back. In the real world of elves, there have been elf thieves. However, with the strength of Gengar and the special characteristics of ghost-type elves, unless there are gym-level thieves, take action, otherwise it would be impossible to take Gengar away. Secondly, Yang Xiao said now that Gengar disappeared from the Ghost Channel. The entire Ghost Channel in the Chinese Internet Dark Network is controlled by Gengar Laohe of the Demon City Ghost Tower to ensure its safety. I want to take Gengui away from Gengui Laohe's side. Who has the courage? Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Among the beautiful things in the elf world, perhaps Gardevoir's tears are one of them. Gardevoir hugged her knees, and the skirt spreading out on the ground looked like a white flower. But as her tears flowed, the traces of wrinkles on the flower seemed like withered colors. S.A. Nai. The Gengar in Gardevoir's eyes is actually an elf that still has a naughty temperament. As humans often say, men are children who never grow up. Among elves, Gengar may be the elf who never grows up. Even if he evolved from Ghost to Ghost Stone, and then from Ghost Stone to Gengar, the two evolutions still did not make Gengar lose his nature, but gradually hid it. Because of responsibility, because of responsibility. Perhaps, it was because of the second evolution that Ghost Stone, who had always been naughty, gradually became calm and reliable after evolving into Gengar. That evolution. Sana. As the tears fell, Gardevoir's snow-white skirt gradually began to light up with traces of dark gray, and at the same time, a brilliant light flickered in her purple-red eyes. She remembered something. Darkrai, look. This Gardevoir. It hurts, it hurts. Cresselia in the shadow space accidentally grabbed Darkray's hair. Seeing the changes on the gardoir in front of her, she couldn't help but be shocked. She even grabbed Darkrai by the hand. Yi's strength grew stronger and she simply forgot about it. At this time, would Darkrai dare to continue shouting "it hurts"? The skirt of Gardevoir's body that was gradually changing to a darker color in front of him directly set off huge waves in Darkrai's heart. No way. Darkrai and Cresselia couldn't help but glance at each other almost at the same time. Then, their throats moved at the same time. Then, they turned their heads again at the same time and continued to look at Gardevoir. Variety. The breath of ghost. Gardevoir has the aura of a ghost. Oh my god, that Gengar is the ghost stone who signed a soul contract with Lord Nether Dragon King. How could this be such a coincidence? Whether it's Darkrai or Cresselia, it feels like this world is a bit too small right now. In the real world of elves, in the current era, the only elf who signed a soul contract with Giratina, the Dark Dragon King, is the Gengar of human trainer Yang Xiao. More importantly, Cresselia and Darkrai have never discovered this huge secret. Until Gengar is missing this time. The ghostly aura began to emanate from Gardevoir's body, gradually dyeing her princess dress a dark color. This was a feeling of sadness, loss, and pain. When Gardevoir's heart is hurt, Gothic-style dark long skirt will be added to your body. Sana. Gardevoir held the briefcase with Gengar's aura in his arms, and let out a high-pitched sound that shocked the soul. Now, the rustling wind outside the window seemed to have stopped. It did not cause any more noise, but just as the sound of footsteps was reduced, it sneakily left here. Time, at this moment, seemed to be stagnant. Looking at the familiar ceiling, Gardevoir really wanted to hold Gengar's hand again and count the stars one by one on the windowsill. I really want to pinch Gengui's face when his skin grows, and feel Gengui's body temperature and fleshy body. I really want to. Really want. But Gengar, why don't you say something, why? The extremely eye-catching red bloodshot eyes in those amethyst-colored eyes gradually began to take on a dark color, as if they had fallen from an angel into a dark demon. Even if the appearance changes, it will not change. A passionate heart. The dark skirt bloomed, and from the original blooming snow lotus, it now became a dark and coquettish rose. The interweaving of black and white. Deep in Gardevoir's soul, it seemed that he felt the power, from Gengar. Gengar's soul. It's really it. Gengar left half of his soul, in Gardevoir's heart. This is, the life force of the soul. At this moment, in the ears of Yang Yu and Yang Xiao, Darkrai and Cresselia spoke at the same time, making them both fall into complete shock at this moment. Even if he is the king. Even if he is a god. You will also be overwhelmed by the eternal love of the elf world. Sana. This was the most dangerous situation for Larulus to condense his skirt, at that critical moment when his skirt might be broken again and there would be no possibility of evolution. It was the ghost stone of the past. Use your own life force to share the pain for Larulus. However, even with the power of ghost stone to share the pain, it cannot completely resolve the pain endured when the skirt is condensed. What is left of ghost stone? Only your own soul. Hold on to your son's soul and live with him. Pokémon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 1012. Xiao Yu, our Gengui should be the ghost stone who signed a soul contract with the Nether Dragon King. Yang Yu closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and after a long time, he told the truth. I should have guessed it. Yang Yu recalled that he and Darkrai had talked about Giratina's soul contract. Even Darkrai said that there was a ghost stone who chose to sign the soul contract. It's just that there are ghost-type elves in the elf world, ghost stone. There are probably thousands of them in the ghost tower alone. Yang Yu didn't think too much about Yang Xiao's Gengar, because the elf who signed the contract is ghost stone. And not Gengar. Unfortunately, Yang Yu's mistake was to ignore the moment when he helped Larula's go to Mount Everest to recover his skirt. It was at that moment that Ghost Stone evolved into Jengar, allowing Jengar to get rid of Ghost. This form of stone. Yes, Darkrai and I were not sure at first, but we saw, the moment Gardevoir with the ghost element as the third attribute appeared on his body, we could confirm that the elf who signed a soul contract with Lord Nether Dragon King, it's this Jengar. What Yang Yu said and what Cresselia said gave Yang Xiao a feeling of confusion again. However, she didn't care. No matter who took Gengui away, she must take Yang Xiao with him. Jengar comes home. Gengui is Yang Xiao's elf. Likewise, he is Yang Xiao's friend and family. Brother, where is the Nether Dragon King? Let's go to him to get Gengui back. Sana. Gardevoir, whose ghostly aura seemed to light up ghostly will-o'-the-wisps around her, had unwavering faith in her coquettish purple eyes mixed with the three attributes of super, fairy, and ghost. Since you have chosen to hold hands, it is a matter of life. Any difficulties should be faced together, but how can? Let Jengar take the responsibility alone. Let's start making a plan. Yang Yu rubbed his forehead. He didn't say anything else. This time, he would definitely support Yang Xiao and Gardevoir, because he would definitely enter the reverse world where the Nether Dragon King is. Xiao Yu, let's make it clear together. First of all, we must understand what kind of elf Giratina, the underworld Dragon King, is. Maybe a simple description cannot describe anything, but its strength is better than any king-level trainer in our elf world. Everyone must be strong, including me naturally. After Yang Xiao heard what brother Yang Yu said, he looked stunned for a moment, but soon became firm again. Brother, Gengui is my elf partner. I can't give up the hope of finding it. If I don't find Gengui, then what's the difference between me and those who abandon their elves? Yang Xiao's powerful words echoed in the room. Yang Yu was stunned here, and then, although he was a little reluctant, he still smiled. Xiao Yu, you have grown up. The trainer's responsibility is to protect the sincere bond with the elves while training the elves. Perhaps to the trainer, the elves may be just elves, but in the eyes of the elves, the trainer is everything. Once an elf recognizes its trainer, it will follow it for the rest of its life unless the trainer chooses to abandon it. Then let's go together to find Gengui, okay? Yang Yu slowly squatted down. The pain in his knees and legs still couldn't stop him from doing so. He used an extremely gentle tone to bring full warmth and firm belief to Yang Xiao. Good. Yang Xiao nodded vigorously. Gengui has done a lot for this family, for Yang Xiao, and for Gardevoir. Perhaps Yang Xiao may not know exactly what Gengui has brought to this family, but the elf resources used by Gardevoir and the magic wall doll are all Jengar went to the ghost tower to earn money in exchange for it. Yang Xiao's 18-year-old senior high school coming-of-age ceremony may have undergone a different change at this moment. Decadence means being unable to gain strength and hope to find Jengar. Xiao Yu, smile, maybe things are not as bad as we think. Do you still remember the story I told you before about Hukran's mother? Yang Yu's voice gradually became weaker. Even when he finally fell asleep, he still had a smile on his face, trying to make the atmosphere in the room a little warmer at this time. He was really tired. Sweet dream god, tell me, why did the Dark Dragon King take Gengui away? In the small living room, Yang Xiao was holding Yang Yu's Pang Ding. Although he seemed calmer, there was still redness and swelling in the corners of his eyes. Talent, belief, strength, and perhaps more, his persistence. Cresselia's voice at this time was like an intimate big sister, explaining to Yang Xiao in a soft voice. Your brother said that he told you the story of the Harker dragon and her mother. The mother of the Harker dragon once signed a soul contract with the Lord Pluto Dragon King in order to save her child. Similarly, that Jengar saved Gardevoir, right? Cresselia actually had some tears in her eyes. Such a shocking love deeply moved her and also greatly stimulated her. Especially when he glared at Darkrai next to him. Look at this person. Witnessing love between life and death like this is a power that can completely penetrate the heart of Cresselia, the god of dreams. Darkray's eyes dodge a little, but he also knows that maybe Gengar's strength is not too strong for him, but Gengar's courage. It can shock Darkrai. This is one of the reasons why Darkrai is in the dream world, but is attached to the real world of elves. Xiao Yu, your brother really loves you. From the Everest area to Hangzhou, do you know how long it took him to rush back home after receiving your news? Cresselia said slowly. At this time, Yang Xiao was a little belatedly aware that because of Gengui's disappearance, she lost some sense of proportion and also forgot about the time to wait. More than an hour and 5 minutes, this distance and this speed have exceeded the speed limit of other elves in the real world of elves. By the way, how did he do it? When Cresselia said this, she was suddenly shocked. This speed. How can this be? Cresselia, this human trainer Yang Yu, he may want to create a new era. Taking advantage of this free time, Darkrai told Cresselia everything he saw with his own eyes. Z-move. Along with Cresselia, Yang Xiao was also silent at this time. It turns out that brother Yang Yu and King Xianyu rushed back to Hangzhou from Mount Everest so desperately because of the news about Yang Xiao's contact. Brother Yang Yu. Yang Xiao wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes to make himself stronger. Brother Yang Yu said that we will go find Gengui. Gardevoir, we also need to train well. Although our strength is weaker, we cannot leave Gengui in that strange world. Sana. Turn the world upside down. There are a total of 7 floating islands floating here, but one of them has not seen any movement since its establishment until now. There was no movement or life. But on this day, a figure suddenly appeared on this deserted island. Gengar looked around blankly. Welcome, the 7th Island Master. Recommended book: We Wild Monsters Don't Want to Die. Author, I Eat Apricots. Introduction, travel through time and become a black dragon, but the world is full of players. In order to survive, gather wild monsters around you, build the most difficult dungeon in history, and strive to become the undefeatable black dragon boss and the great savior of the wild monsters. Pokémon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Shao. Chapter 1013. Yang Yu had a dream. He dreamed that he was standing on the corridor of the reverse world. The 6 corridors representing life, physical attack, physical defense, special attack, special defense, and speed were like an unbreakable seal, sealing him inside. When he was almost lost, the terrifying shadow looked like a huge, insect-like floating body, and the sharp hooks completely stopped. What really shocked Yang Yu was the pair of eyes opened from the darkness. Giratina. Yang Yu suddenly woke up and stood up, breathing heavily to relieve the trembling feeling in his body. When the pair of eyes in the darkness stared straight at him, Yang Yu felt the frightening feeling that people are doing it and God is watching. In reality, in the somewhat dim room, the pair of small, tinkling eyes immediately revealed a look of joy. Yang Yu woke up. It also comes with the little dream monster's favorite fear energy. But before tasting fear, the little dream demon patted Yang Yu's cheek. The cold touch told Yang Yu that he didn't need to be so afraid. As long as the little dream demon was around, the evil spirits would be able to disperse. Little dream demon, it's you. Yang Yu recalled the pair of dark eyes that briefly stayed in the image in his mind, and then looked at the eyes of the little dream demon. Although they were in the same direction, directly in front of Yang Yu, the situation was completely different. What time is it? Yang Yu rubbed the little dream demon's head and said in a hoarse voice. Bola. After returning to Yang Yu's room, Jigglypuff immediately came over holding the small alarm clock beside the bed, and then turned on the night light. It's 4:40 in the morning. Yang Yu rubbed his eyelids. He still felt a lot of fatigue, but it was much better than before when he had to use superpowers to keep walking. Dark Ray. Yang Yu had an idea. Unfortunately, Dark Ray is not in Yang Yu's shadow space now. No need to think too much, he must be receiving education from Cresselia. Regirock, he is still in the Everest area. With Senior Turtle and Dion 11 there won't be any other problems. Yang Yu looked around and found that there was an egg stuck in his pillow. He smiled and shook his head. This little thing Tajipai is quite good at finding a place to sleep. The surrounding environment was quiet. At this time, Xiao Yu was still resting. Yang Yu did not intend to disturb him, but sat up and leaned against the bed. Bully. Jigglypuff's expression has always been worried. At this time, if it were normal, Jigglypuff would have found a good place to start his daily vocal training. However, he did not do so today. Instead, he waited until Yang Yu woke up. Even if Tajipai and Jigglypuff told him that Yang Yu had nothing to do with him, Jigglypuff didn't have Tajipai's ability, and his big heart was still lacking. Fortunately, there is nothing else going on here with trainer Yang Yu. I remember that Dark Ray has heart scales that can be used to communicate with the reverse world. I don't know if the energy of the heart scales rainbow crystal in that guy's hand is enough. Yang Yu was thinking slowly now, holding Jigglypuff in his arms, and patting Jigglypuff's body gently at the same time. What he was thinking in his heart was also what he was mumbling in his mouth. After a while, Jigglypuff in Yang Yu's arms was like this. He fell asleep peacefully. The little dream demon waved her hand in front of Yang Yu's eyes, pointed in the direction of Jigglypuff, and told Yang Yu that Jigglypuff had begun to sleep. Yang Yu nodded, indicating that his voice would be softer when he was thinking. If Gengui has entered the reverse world, the only method Yang Yu knows so far is to use the scales of the heart to contact Gengui, and that is just contact. But this is enough. By the way, there is also the paper money from Gengui Liahatiendi Bank. Even if Yang Yu wakes up now, he is still a little unbelievable. Unexpected, but somehow reasonable. What once happened to Kuai Long of East China Sea Dragon Palace, this time, happened to Yang Yu and Yang Xiaoyu. Minas, Jengar. They all have one common characteristic. For everything you love. This damn love, is so sweet. Yang Yu continued to lean here, squinting his eyes and resting until Dongfang was white. What he didn't know was that his group's behavior of returning to Hangzhou from Mount Everest had already caused a stir in the entire Elf Alliance. This is impossible, Gyarados, it's not a dragon elf, so why can it master dragon power that is more terrifying than a dragon elf? Several authoritative dragon-type elf trainers in the country, in addition to Dragon Messenger Xiaz Hepeng and Dragon-type gym leader Yun Zhenfei, there are also gym-level trainer Kong Cheng from the Zhejiang region, and gym-level trainer Yang Binrui from the southern Fujian region. Of course, including all the resident trainers in the Dragon-type gym, these people also cannot understand why Gyarados can burst out with such Dragon-type moves that even the King-level dragon feels huge pressure. The materialization of power, apart from anything else, depends on the void momentum of this move. The most powerful move mastered by dragon-type elves, Meteor Swarm. In front of this strange move, I feel nothing more than that. King Xiatian, can your dragon use Meteor Swarm, to achieve such an effect? Trainer Kong Cheng asked in a voiceless voice. It's hard to say the specific power without actual combat, but this thing, what the Meteor Swarm smashes down is a meteor condensed from the power of the dragon. The size of the meteor depends on the strength of the elf, but if you put this Dharma in the sky likewise, Gyarados, which is condensed from dragon power, is used as a super meteor. Xiaz Hepeng didn't say much. The rest is up to you to experience it yourself. This is simply cheating. In the same attack area, the Draco meteors of the meteor swarm fell one by one. Fortunately, the huge Dharma behind Gyarados was larger than all the meteors dropped by the meteor swarm combined. What is this? Dragon Messenger Xiazhepeng felt that his Kuai Long had learned a fake move. It's as if the meteor swarm technique I've been using for more than 10 or 20 years is just a fake. Suddenly I encounter this move I've never seen before, so just call it extra large meteor swarm. Then here comes the problem. How did the meteor swarm grow into the shape of a Gyarados? It is impossible to create a Gyarados when using meteor swarms. Even the expression and some of the details are simply lifelike. So, this is not a meteor swarm. You can't analyze anything here. Why don't you go directly to Hangzhou and find King Xiaoyang directly? Learn more. If you don't understand, you should ask more questions. Since no one has seen the knowledge of this elf's moves, maybe, is it the move created by little Yang Tianwang himself? In the video conference of this conversation, a gray-haired old man appeared. Master Huang, why are you here? Whether it was Xiazhepeng or Yun Zhenfei, including some other gym-level trainers, they were suddenly shocked when they saw the appearance of the old man in the video. This one is. There were also some young dragon elf trainers attending the meeting here, and they were not too impressed by this old man. You younger generation may not understand that this is the new dragon gym leader, Master Huang. I didn't expect you to show up here. Yun Zhenfei showed a trace of nostalgia on his face, and at the same time he looked extremely respectful. In the Chinese Elf Alliance, there are still many national treasure level trainers. Those old people who have served as gym leaders or even kings, although they usually do not appear in the public eye, at critical moments in the Chinese elf world, they will put down their teacups, chess pieces, fans, or rattles to entertain children, and return to everyone's field of vision. Hearing the introduction from Hall Master Yun Zhenfei, the young trainers here were immediately in awe. The newly appointed Dragon Gym leader. This old man's background is too great. Then we will listen to Master Huang. Originally, the aviation department was still waiting for news from us. Unexpectedly, even we don't know what this move is. It seems that we really have to go to Yang Yu himself to find out. Xiazhepeng said. The old man nodded with a smile. This news must also be blocked in other countries and regions. Satellite pictures cannot be leaked. It only took about an hour for Xiaoyang Tianwang to rush back to Hangzhou from Mount Everest. At this speed, it is impossible for us. The old man felt that it was a bit fanciful. Times have changed. I never thought that elves could reach such terrifying speeds before, but now, everything is possible. Furthermore, something must have happened to King Xiaoyang who rushed back to Hangzhou in such a hurry. Xia, when you see him then, explain to him that the Elf Alliance will definitely provide him with solid and reliable support. Help, the old man warned quite seriously. Yes. Darkrai finally returned. But judging from the look on his face, he probably lived a very good life during this period. There was a lot to say between Cresselia and Darkrai. It was during this time when Yang Yu was resting that they timed to have a good conversation. How is the situation over there with Xiao Yu? It was a nightmare, but Cresselia would not deliberately modify the dream of a human trainer. When she woke up, Cresselia was there to comfort and guide her. Darkrai said slowly. Yang Yu nodded and forced a smile. Thank you. Thank you for what I did, but I didn't help her at all. Darkrai shrugged. Darkrai, can your heart scale still be used? Just like how Hakran communicated with Minas before, let's see if it can allow Gardevoir to communicate with the Jengars who are turning the world upside down. Yang Yu expressed his thoughts. Darkrai was startled for a moment, then reached out and dug into his sleeves. Here you go. Whether you can contact Jengar through the heart scale depends on Gardevoir herself. Yang Yu looked at the heart-shaped rainbow-colored elf prop in his hand and couldn't help but squeeze it subconsciously. The cold touch made him realize that Darkrai had really thrown the heart scale from the dream world into reality. Thank you. Yang Yu thanked Darkrai sincerely. Okay, don't be so nauseous. I haven't recovered from the horror of Z-Power yet. Your sister should be awake by now. It's better to try to contact Jengar as soon as possible. Darkrai rolled his eyes. Although he seemed a little disdainful, he was always very happy in his heart. The situation is different now than when I just met this human trainer before. Already familiar with it. There is no need to say thank you anymore. Waiting in the living room for Xiaoyu to come out, Cresselia, the god of dreams, saw the heart scale held in Yang Yu's hand, and realized later that that one was used to communicate between her and Darkrai. The heart scales can also help Yang Xiao and Gardevoir. Besides, what Darkrai said before about him going to find Venus was actually Darkrai using the scales of the heart to help Hakron find Venus. He's still so kind-hearted. Cresselia's thoughts changed, and her heart felt a little softer. At this moment, Yang Xiao didn't seem to be in good spirits, and he was still silent. Xiaoyu, Gardevoir, come here quickly and use this thing to see if you can find Jengar. Yang Yu raised the scales of the heart in his hand. This is... When Yang Xiao heard the word Jengar and the whole sentence spoken by brother Yang Yu, his eyes suddenly brightened from being a little depressed. It's just like... A ray of light emerged from the darkness. S.A. Ni. Gardevoir's expression was equally haggard. In her hand, she was holding Gengui's briefcase. This is the most powerful thing left by Gengui here, and she will always carry it with her. Find Gengui and hand the briefcase to Gengui's hand again. Brother Yang Yu, what did you say? Xiaoyu, this is what I told you before, the elf item that Hakron uses to communicate with Venus in another world, the heart scale. Brother, is this the scales of the heart? Although the halo did not start to flicker on the scales of the heart, as the sunlight outside the window shone into the room, the colorful light contained in it could still be seen. The mysterious elf props and mysterious colors made Yang Xiao feel a little more expectant. Brother Yang Yu will not lie to her. Sana. Gardevoir looked at the heart-shaped scales in Yang Yu's hand. At this moment, the chest area of her long dress, the pink super skirt, began to shine involuntarily. Excited, nervous, and hopeful. Gardevoir, give it a try, this may be our hope of seeing Jengar again and finding Jengar. Gardevoir held the scales of the heart exuding mysterious power with both hands. It was as if what he was holding was his own nervous and beating heart. Be careful, be careful. For a moment, there were tears in the corners of Gardevoir's eyes, and he couldn't help but hug the heart scale to his chest. The heart of Gardevoir's super skirt flashed with pink-purple superpower in an instant. Pink-purple superpower and fairy light gradually covered Gardevoir's body. What Gardevoir's heart desires. At this moment, only the Jengar disappeared. Please, let me see Jengar. Tick-tock. A crystal teardrop dripped down Gardevoir's face and onto the scales of the heart. The colorful light is blooming at this moment. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokémon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 1014. A flash of rainbow light, in order of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and purple, like a ribbon, swirls around Gardevoir. The flickering heart scales seem to understand Gardevoir's inner world. Where are you now? Where are you? The effect of the scales of the heart requires memories to open this door of communication. Under this swirling colorful light, Gardevoir's memories, like film photos, gradually revolved around as the light rotated. Among them, Yang Xiao took them to the park for a picnic, and they also flew kites together. The most recent one showed them going to the secret realm of the Sea Temple together. When memories start to go backwards, several images are frozen in an instant. It was a night at Boston Manor. Gardevoir remembered that when he was sitting on the chimney of the manor that night, Jengar acted unnaturally. This situation, when Gardevoir began to recall it, he discovered that this was no accident. In recent times, Jengar has often been distracted. Even if Gardevoir asked Jengar if he had encountered any difficulties, Jengar just said it was a work problem. Perhaps, Jengar already knew that he would face the end of leaving the real world of elves. However, they did not dare to tell Yang Xiao and Gardevoir. Sana. If there is still a chance. If time could go over again. Gardevoir felt his hands gradually become numb. Gardevoir will pat Jengar's fat belly less often, bicker with Jengar less, and give Jengar more opportunities to show off, right? Don't wait until you lose it before you know how to cherish it. By that time, it's too late. Gurgling tears, like streams, flowed down Gardevoir's face, chin, arms, and skirt, all the way to the ground. The atmosphere has a dull feel. With Yang Yu and Yang Xiao by my side, the most painful and at the same time the sweetest memories are these. The scales of the heart, the direction of the heart. When the calming seven-colored light of the scales of the heart once again burst out with bright light, the images engraved in it gradually began to undergo incredible changes. The seventh floating island. Darkrai recognized the origin of this island at a glance. When this floating island appeared, the remaining doubts had been completely wiped out. The appearance of the scene was enough to illustrate. Gengui, he has really come to the reverse world. As for why Jengar left so quietly, this is the power of the soul contract. When the time stipulated in the contract has arrived, no matter when and where, this invisible force will break the rules of the real world of elves and bring them into the reverse world. This is an uninhabited wilderness. A huge island, but not much life. S.A. Nai. Gardevoir's eyes suddenly brightened. She saw that figure. Sitting by the river on the island, the purple-gray bodies gradually huddled together, and what was even more conspicuous was that the albino trend had begun to appear on the chubby purple-gray body. That is Jengar. It's her Gardevoir's purple fat man. Sanai. Brother, it's Gengui, it's Gengui. I saw Gengui. The look on Gardevoir's face showed that she had seen the dawn in despair. In these fiery calls, the emotional excitement made her body mixed with the three attributes of super, fairy, and ghost, and she began to completely boiling. Yang Xiao couldn't help but stood up from her sitting position, and even took a few steps in the direction of Gardevoir. She saw Gengui, she saw Gengui. Yang Yu felt that Yang Xiao's mood was beginning to warm up, and while he felt a little happy, his eyes kept paying attention to the figure of Jengar appearing in the scales of the heart. That is a lonely figure. As the angle of view gradually narrowed, and at the same time, it gradually rotated, the full picture of Jengar appeared in front of everyone. He and Gardevoir really match well. Cressalia's voice sounded softly. The color of the purple-gray Jengar gradually evolved into the form of a white ghost, just like it started to fade from dark colors. He was sitting alone by the river on the island, looking at the river with a lonely expression. The most eye-catching thing is the sculpture built by Jengar on his left side, which is made of sand from the river. It has an elegant figure and a skirt that seems to be swaying in the wind. There is no doubt that this is the figure of Gardevoir. Next to Jengar and Gardevoir, there are also paintings of a child and a clown-like head. Yang Xiao, the magic wall doll. On the lonely island, at this moment, there was only Jengar himself. After all, it is you who can resist everything. A gust of wind blew up the water on the island, and the ripples touched Jengar's heart. Gee! Gengui looked at his lonely self with a somewhat disappointed look. But soon, Jengar hid his disappointed look. This is a trade of souls. Everything is of Jengar's own free will. No complaints, no resentments. Yes, just grateful. Without the help of Giratina, the Dark Dragon King, perhaps, his Larulas, would not have been able to successfully evolve into Gardevoir. That is evolution that breaks the rules of the elf world, and if you break the rules, you have to pay the corresponding price. Jengar has completed his mission in the real world of elves. Next, he will live here peacefully. As the seventh master of the floating island in the reverse world under the Dragon King Giratina, start your own new life in the reverse world. When Gengui stood up slowly and was about to turn around and leave, his body froze here. Do not know why. He felt a call from the call of Gardwar. G. When Gengui suddenly turned his head, the statue of Gardwar that Gengui had piled up with sand and stone seemed to gain life at this moment. Sana. The image of Gardwar, as well as the images of Yang Xiao and the magic wall dolls around Gardwar, appeared in front of Jengar. Waiting for 1,000 years, in exchange for looking back once in this life. Jengar's turning back this time made Gardwar and Yang Xiao in the real world of elves no longer able to control their tears. They felt an excitement that could not be described in words, a feeling that made them see hope from despair and emerge from darkness. See the power of dawn in it. G. Jengar was scared. He couldn't help but stretched out his hand and took the hand of the Gardwar sculpture. When he wanted to let Gardwar hit him hard again, he found that the Gardwar in front of him was not the real Gardwar. The shadow of thoughts? Suddenly, Gengui remembered a prop. Once. I heard Yang Yu say it, and I heard my master Yang Xiao also mention it. Only by integrating your thoughts, building bridges from memories, and experiencing the baptism of memories can you see the person you want to see, or the mysterious tool of the elf, the scales of the heart. Sana. Where are you? Where are you now? All kinds of emotions filled Gardevoir's heart. There are countless things I want to say, but at this moment, in front of Gardwar, Jengar, who has almost never shed tears, has always been strong, and even shoulders the responsibility of the entire family, is in front of her. Crying for the first time. Haggard and haggard. Faded. G. Sorry, sorry, sorry. When he needed power the most during Ghoststone's time, he didn't have enough ability to preserve Larula's superpower, but he burned his soul. Sanai. Gardwar already understood everything. This is everything Jengar did for her. The past was the effort made by Ghoststone for the past Larulas. Now. It's her turn to be the current Jengar with Gardwar. When the power of the ghost covered Gardevoir's body, what appeared in front of Gengui was the most beautiful wedding in the Potala Palace. The wedding dress worn by Jengar for Gardwar. She will use this as her battle suit. Looking for Jengar. B. The most beautiful bride, Goth Queen. Pokemon's character master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 1015. The picture of heart-scale communication gradually dimmed. Jengar's appearance began to blur in front of Gardwar. It was similar to the situation when the mini-dragon used the heart scale for the first time. This time, what Gardwar awakened was the same strong belief in his heart. As mentioned before, Jengar has done so much for this family and for her. Now, it's Gardevoir's turn. In the initial period when Gengui disappeared silently, there was helplessness, despair, and crying, unable to accept the facts. But at this moment, the hope of finding Gengui came, sweeping away the haze of the past. Jengar, you have to stay well over there, we will definitely find you. Yang Xiao's last words were spoken seriously to Jengar as a trainer. G. The light curtain dissipated and everything returned to calm. But before and after the heart scale was used, the atmosphere in the room was completely different. Xiao Yu, we successfully contacted Gengui, next, we have to start making preparations while waiting. Yang Yu looked in the direction of Gardwar and secretly sighed in his heart. In Gardevoir's body, he saw the shadow of the mini-dragon before. From now on, Gardevoir's strength will further begin to improve. In such stimulation, elves often burst out with unimaginable potential. So what needs to be done now is to help Gardevoir control and guide this power that is about to explode. Obviously, the Super Tower and Ghost Tower in the Magic City are the best places to go. Brother, what you said was the passage at Monafay and Dion 11's place, right? Behind that passage is the world where Gengar lives? Yes, it is an elf secret realm that is comparable in size to our elf world, and may even be larger than our world. In the history of the Elf Alliance, there are records of its appearance many times, but this time, it is larger than according to the rules. Calculate, it should appear earlier. Yang Xiao nodded, held his breath and asked, "Brother, what should I do now? I also want to help Gardevoir and the Magic Wall Doll improve their strength." At this time, the Magic Wall Doll on the side took out a broom from nowhere, turned the broom upside down at the same time, and looked in the direction of Yang Yu and Yang Xiao with a stiff face, as if it also wanted to join the war mean. For the Magic Wall Doll, he has experienced being separated from his partner once and does not want to experience it a second time. The painful feeling will gradually deepen as time goes by. Let's go to the Magic City Super Tower and Ghost Tower. If the reverse world comes, normal life will most likely be greatly affected. And Xiao, you are in your third year of high school now. Yang Yu's mind quickly began to think. In Gardevoir's current state, Xiao Yu must be there to guide him as a trainer, work together, and make progress together. At the same time, Xiao Yu must be allowed to gradually walk on the road of being a superpower. At that time, I will ask the Elf Alliance to help me transport Xiao to the Super Tower every day. Brother, will it trouble the Elf Alliance too much? No matter how troublesome it is, it can't be more important than Xiao Yu. Yang Yu smiled and coughed lightly. The Elf Alliance still has some preferential treatment. At that time, with the Hangzhou Elf Alliance, every day there will be people going to the Magic City Elf Alliance, so you can just go with them, there won't be any trouble. As a king-level trainer, the Elf Alliance will definitely pay attention to Yang Yu's needs. It's just a simple matter of picking up and dropping off people, which is not a trouble at all. Gardevoir, please return the scales of the heart to Brother Yang Yu. Brother Yang Yu also said before that this needs to be charged with the light of the rainbow. When the charge is full, can you use it again? Gardevoir nodded. She took a towel and slowly wiped the soaked heart scale clean, making it look more crystal clear. The scales of the heart not only carry the hopes of Gardevoir, but also the hopes of Yang Xiao and Hakran. Who says Darkrai is just a nightmare god who creates nightmares? It's just that no one noticed when weaving beautiful dreams. Now that we have a common goal. Yang Yu smiled and raised his hands. Seeing this familiar action, Yang Xiao finally had a smile on his face. At the same time, he raised his hands and gave each other a high five. Then work hard, and work harder. You are here too. King Xiatian, we are also very curious about this. After all, the most powerful dragon-type move at present is the Meteor Swarm. How did King Yang Yushan come up with this dragon-type move? No matter what, we still have to come and take a look. In fact, not only the current few dragon trainers came to Hangzhou this time, but there were also many who were itchy but felt that they might be a little unqualified, so they settled in the Hangzhou Elf Alliance first and waited for the big guys. Go and invite King Yang Yushan over, and then they will join in the fun. A basic point in judging the strength of a dragon trainer is whether the dragon elf has mastered the Meteor Swarm. Even after mastering it, the proficiency of releasing it is very particular. Basically, dragon elves who are not at the elite level will not learn this move. If they are not good at it, it is easy to trick themselves. The move is very powerful and difficult to control. Therefore, if you want to understand the moves Yang Yushan Wangurados used when he was on the road, you can only understand this step. As for more, it is better to stop daydreaming. In addition to the moves, we also need to ask Yang Yu what happened specifically and see if there is anything we can do to help. Dragon Messenger Xiaz Hepeng said. In short, I always feel that it is a big thing, otherwise Gyarados would not be forced to reach such a speed. Yoon Genfei had a bad feeling in his heart for some reason. This kid, we can't just come to him as a group, right? Yang Yu's house is still a rented cabin, so if there are 5 of us going together at once, won't it be too crowded? In addition to the previous 2 gym-level dragon trainers from the south, Kong Chen and Yang Benrui, there is another dragon trainer from the northeast, Lu Yeking. If Dragon Messenger had not taken the lead to make an agreement with other gym leaders, and Yang Yu would be found as soon as possible, he would conduct a cross-space meeting via video. Otherwise, all the high-end trainers in the entire Chinese country might gather in Hangzhou. In Chen Yanjiao's hut. In fact, it already has some of that flavor. When Yang Yu heard the knock on the door, he casually asked loudly, "Who is it? Are you here to check the water meter?" "Yang Yu, open the door, Xiaozhe Peng." The small living room was filled with a group of big guys. Some people don't even have a place to sit. At first, Yang Yu didn't react for a while. After waiting for a while, looking at the inexplicable respect in the eyes of these big guys, Yang Yu seemed to have come to his senses. "I seem already a big boss.